clear boundaries and expectations.
I think slow parenting actually refers to being very intentional, all right, about your parenting style and approach, especially noting that you are stewards to your children.
Overview on slow parenting. I probably focus more on allowing the child to experience the world at a slower pace, because when we talk about the disadvantages,
and the mother are valuable. So it's from that viewpoint now that I am going to make my comments. Parenting is a team event. It's not a 100-meter race. Welcome once again to our house, the Slow Parenting program on Nostalgia Media. We are delighted to have you here today as you join us on this very special edition of the program. We are dedicating this edition to telling stories about ourselves, specifically stories about our mothers. I'm going to tell mine about my mother. That one story about her that impacted my life. Okay. So we're going to hear also from my other colleagues on the program, the other resource persons. You're going to hear from Dr. Oyewale Sarumi. You're welcome, sir, on the program, or as you join us. You're going to hear from Pastor Mrs. Yetunde Banjo. You're welcome, Pastor Yetunde, as you join us as well. You're going to hear also from Mrs. Boluwatiwi Ayo Opalike. Everybody's grinning because we are going to tell stories about our mothers today. That one thing about her, about that special woman that has brought you to be where you are today. That thing that when you remember it, well, bless God for my mother. Okay. We're also going to hear from Mrs. Adedoyin Ishola. Okay, she's here on the program too. And unfortunately, Professor Charles Wakwe would not be joining us today. He has an official assignment which is keeping him away at this particular time. Well, he might look in at some point, but we shan't be hearing any stories about her mother, about his mother from him today. That's the big story, okay? So of course I'm here. My name is Richie Adewusi. It hasn't changed. I have no plans of changing it. Okay. So here we go. That story. As you listen, as you participate, as you watch, reminisce, go back in time, become nostalgic for your mother. I am about my own. Okay? So let's go. Welcome, one and all, Nostalgia Media's parenting program. This particular event, this particular program is a slow parenting program on Nostalgia Radio. We're here every Wednesday at the same time. Join us. And if you've already joined, Enjoy the ride. Welcome. Okay, we'll move on. I think the technical people are having some little hiccups, so we'll move on with the program. Okay. I am going to call that my very personal person. Everybody on this program have my personal person. Oh, okay. I think they're woken up. They're woken up now. So let's just keep our peace. All right, welcome back from that short break after that brief commercial. We are going to make this very detailed, but at the same time very well. It's not going to be a jaw draw thing. We're going to listen attentively as each resource person takes about 5 minutes to tell us that special story about his or her mother that has impacted his or her life up to this point. We're going to start with Pastor Mrs. Yetunde Banjo. I know you were expecting it. Let's go.
Why me? Why me?
Because you're special, my sister. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Senior G. All right. I don't know how many stories I can tell about my mom.
Just one.
But yeah, I know. I'm just going to talk about a lesson I learned from something she did over and over again, which I also do now. And that is how to speak without using your words at all. So I'm sure for every African parent, or would I say Nigerian parents, I'm guessing maybe Africa, there's a way that your mother would talk to you without saying anything. And you would know what she was talking about, right? You would get it right away. You know, like when we were growing up, we used to talk about, she would give us the eye. She would give us the eye like, okay, you know, maybe you were behaving badly, or she didn't want you to take something, or she didn't want you to, you know, and so without saying anything, without uttering a single word, you would get the message she was trying to pass across. My kids call it the look now. They say, mom gave me the look. So once I give them that look, they know what I'm talking about. And in particular, it was always around, you know, don't do what you're doing, or especially if she doesn't want you to eat somewhere, like we would go out. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. We would go out and maybe they were offering us food. And my mom would say, no, we just ate before we left home. And she expects you to catch it. And even then, you know, the host might be like, no, like pressing on the kids. Okay, you kids, don't you want something? Should I get you a Coke? Or do you want a juice? Or do you want cookies? You know, that kind of thing. And they would go on and on. And my mom would just be looking intently at you. You know, she'll just be looking you straight in the eye, like, if you dare, accept that cookie and you see yourself. I remember a particular time, I was not that young. I was probably a teenager in my early teens. And I was in boarding school, right? And so anybody who gave you money, you considered it a great thing because you'd have some extra money in boarding school. So we went out, and there was this particular woman who was giving me money. You know, I was so happy, like, my extra money, you know, that kind of thing. But my mom was looking intently at me like, oh, Lord. So anyway, I could see her eye, but I decided that eye or no eye, I'm going to collect this money today. So I did collect the money. And from the moment we got inside the car, she was just backhanding my head and backhanding my face. and slapping me. And she was saying to me in Yoruba, Kilo shieto moju otibajeju alaimora. She abused me from that place till we got home, with intermittent knocks on my head, like you, this silly child. And she went on and on about that. But I was like, okay, it's fine. At least I've collected the money. She can continue abusing me and giving me knocks on my head. I don't care. But that was one thing about her. When I was younger, you didn't have a choice. But by the time I, got into my teenage years, I was like, so if she did the eye for eating food, I wasn't too much of a foodie. And, she had expressed that over and over again, not to be greedy when it comes to food and all that. So I would easily, all of us would easily respond to the eye for food and those kind of things. But for the money matter, I was not going to let that go. But I do remember that I got some serious consequences, some backhanding and until we got home. So in the same way, well, I don't backhand my kids like that, but now I will give them the eye and immediately, they'll check themselves and say, what is wrong, what's wrong? And that's a great lesson,
That's a beautiful one. That's a beautiful one. I'm sure that those of us, what's our own generation called, Seth? Jen Kenny.
Oh, you are a baby boomer.
We all of the baby boomers will remember that your story very well. Very well, and then the generation that's after us will remember those stories very well. You dare not. You go to eat. You will be the one focusing on your mother to see if there's that gentle nurse, that soft note to say go ahead or not, or else you are dead before they bury you before you are dead. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Sarumi. Is Dr. Sarumi in the house? Let me check. Okay, Dr. Sarumi is not here yet. Let me just confirm that he's here with us. All right, we go ahead. Mrs. Ishola, let's hear that classic from you. That story, that one story, huh?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's nice being here. Well, I can say this is my second, but my first time talking on this platform, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. Well, I want to resonate with what Mrs. Yetunde Banjo has said. Also,
no, you have to tell us your own story.
No. I'm going to tell you my story, but of course, okay. I have to also.
And in 5 minutes.
Yes, don't worry. I want to appreciate the fact that we were all, we all went through that, and it was really fun. So my story is, I wish I could tell very short, but let me start with one first. What happened was when we graduated. I don't know whether Richard will understand. You remember when we graduated, and I decided to have a graduation party, and you were actually the one that's actually dropped your balls to help me to get some people from like back then. I don't know whether you remember. So I went to my mom. I said, I wanted to just have a small thing for my graduation and all that. And she said, okay, no problem. So she said that she used to sell drinks, or she sold drinks. She's late now. She sold drinks and all that. So she said I should take the carbonated drinks and all that. I said, mommy, please add the alcoholic one, the beer and all that. Add it to it. She said, no, she's not going to add it. Oh.
It seems we have a little. Go ahead, Don. It seems we have
thrown out of the
but I can see her here. She's still live on YouTube, but she's not here.
Okay.
So you just go ahead, tell your story. Okay, go ahead. Don't you just go ahead, please? Okay, we're having some issues with Doing. Dr. Sarumi, welcome to the platform. Welcome to the program.
I think she's back. Mrs. Ishola is back.
Mama D, go ahead. No, we don't have her. I think
my Wi-Fi misbehaved then. I was trying to
sorry. Go ahead. Just go ahead. Thank you.
So she said no, that she was not going to give me beer and all that. So there was my cousin that came around just at that moment, and he said, mommy, just please now, just give her small, after the whole thing, she gave me actually. So we had a party right there in my home, and it was nice, a nice one. But after the party, she called me.
I was there.
You will remember, you dropped your bus to carry some of my friends from Maryland. I can never forget. So she now called me to the corner of her room and said, well, she had to do that because she didn't want to portray to my cousin that she was not in support, but that she now told me a lot of things about beer and alcohol, and so she told me why we shouldn't encourage it for youth, for youngsters, and all that. And later in life, she got born again and she stopped
Thank
selling
God
it.
for life now.
She stopped selling it after a while. But she told me a lot of things about it and said, encourage you. There's times that you will not be able to
Sitting
get
outside, Abi.
not able to know the gauge, the limits. By the time you are encouraging the youth will continue, they won't know the limit and all that. She told me all that. And of course, she used the opportunity to tell me a lot of things about male-female relationships. And now that you're out of school, the next thing is
Out of university.
out of school, out of university, yes. That people, men will start coming, and these are the things that you need to look at, and these are the things you need to appreciate in them. Make sure you have your third eye, and make sure you don't allow anybody to defile you, and all that. And it was really
That was very timely.
yeah, really, really, really something I appreciate, and I'm also cascading into my children, letting them know the sanctity, the need to keep their sanctity and all that. And that's one of the things I appreciated about my mother. And then the second one quickly is that she ensured that we learned how to cook. When she's cooking, you must be there. You must be there. Bring this, bring that. And in the process, when I'm putting one or two things together, my children will be saying, this thing that you're putting, experimenting. I said I'm experimenting because my mother was also a kind of experimenter. She will carry this, put this. When there is nothing in the hole, you see food on the table. They will carry this, put them together. And this jollof that we used to do now, we used to call them concussion and all that, put everything together. Food is ready before you know it. So, thank God for our mothers. And I pray that we mothers here now will be able to do the same thing and leave a good legacy for our children and children's children. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mama D. Thank you so much. Don't worry. I will use my left hand to hold those reproductive health counseling sessions you had with you after you graduated from the university. We will talk about that. Should be on this program. We'll come to that eventually. All right. Pastor Sarumi, welcome on Dr. Sarumi, welcome on the program. We are ready to hear that your one story now.
I'm a pastor. There's no problem.
Pastor, Doctor. Go ahead.
I've pastored for 30 years, so I'm a pastor. So I'm proud.
But would like to see you, sir.
No, you can't see me because of where I am.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I already said that. I already sent a message to you.
Oh, okay. I didn't get to see the message. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
When we talk about motherhood, for people like us that are boomers, we suffered from, in those days there was a lot of marriage breakage. When I was small, I didn't know my mother. I was living with my.
Dr. Sarumi,
Hello?
just a moment. Just a moment. I think the technical people are hinting me we're supposed to be in the market. So just a moment, please. They will take a commercial, then we'll come back. We just go on a short break and come back. Then you continue. Thank you. Okay, thank you so very much for being with us here and slow parenting. Before that short break, we had Dr. Oyewale Sarumi with that epic story, that very special story he prefers to tell about his mother that has impacted his life. Dr. Sarumi, please go ahead.
Hello?
Do we have Dr. Sarumi?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Can you hear?
We can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
You can hear?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I was saying, I just want to create the background for how my mother impacted my life. I didn't grow up to know her. I was living with my grandparents, both on both sides. So I schooled here. Hello?
We can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I was living with my grandparents from one to the other. And I got to know her when I was in secondary school. But when I finished secondary school, I was to go and learn some trade or to work as a clerk. I think she heard about it and came and took me away. Probably I would have been a good mechanic or a good trader today.
Okay.
Or a bad one at that. So by taking me away, I was able to go to HSC and then university, which she sponsored. For that, I'm highly grateful.
Wow.
For coming to take me. If not, I would have been either a bad mechanic or a tailor. So whatever I am today, today I'm a pastor. Today I'm a professor of strategy and leadership at Acled Business School under University of America in Lagos. I'm a visiting professor to several schools and even theological. I'm a professor of Christian leadership in Watts and other theological school. So whatever that is today is as a result of that snatching me away. And for that, I think I'm grateful to my mother for helping me to be what I am. That foundation was quite, I will never forget that for her. doing that.
Wow.
So basically, that's what I will just say. Then also, uh, I'm a very good cook, a very good cook.
Mm.
I don't know whether Richie is better than I in cooking.
We'll test it online, virtually.
Probably we will need to compete sort of for Guinness Book of slow parenting or whatever. But
Yeah.
but also I was the chief cook because she got married when she left my father. She got married somewhere, so I had to go there when I was in higher school and HSC and university. So I was the chief cook. As at that time, I thought that I was being suffered, but I learned quite a lot of how to cook, how to manage ingredients, what different recipe, pounded yam, everything. So for that, I'm grateful for that foundation.
We are
And
so grateful. We are so
thank
grateful for
thank
that.
God for my mother.
We thank Mama. We really,
Yeah.
really thank Mama. I mean, that's a heavy one. All of the stories are heavy, and we can see that we are not speaking academic grammar today. Okay, we are talking about real life situations, real life stories about our mothers, celebrating this year's Mother's Day, Mother's Week, Mother's Month. Every day is Mother's Day. If you really, really uh, remember, recall, the time you spent or you are spending with for those of us who still have our mothers around, we don't know what you are enjoying. We don't know what those of us who have become orphans go through every day. When I put too much salt in my soup, there's nobody to call to say, Mama, I've made a mistake today. Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Doctor, you are still looking for your mother to help you with soup now? You that you are a grandfather already.
Now. Why should I look for her? I'm somebody's look. I'm jealous when they say my mother. I say, okay, not your fault. Me too. I get my time. It's not fair.
Go and sit down.
The next
Richie,
person going to
go and sit down. Go and sit down. We're all grandfathers now. And our children are even looking,
don't
they are
worry.
looking upward to us. So
Mrs.
the mother issue,
she will
the
rub
mother
it in
issue is
now
just a
for
reminiscence.
us. She had just returned from eating her mother's food. So, Bolu, let us hear that story. Go ahead.
Hey, see, I'm just looking at all of you and laughing and giggling and just like, mothers. It's interesting that although the generations are quite different, our mother stories are really very, very similar. I am curious to see what our own children, my kids, in maybe another 10, 15 years would think and what they would say if they were, to speak at a forum like this one.
Maybe we should create an episode to let our children come and
for them.
About us.
Exactly.
We'll think about
that would be great because my daughter dared to say, Mommy, how was it in the olden days? She was talking to me like me, olden days. I don't understand. Like, how can you refer to me? So I'm listening to particular music by Kirk Franklin. And she was like, who is that? It's one of the songs you used to listen to in the olden days. And I'm like, hey, olden days, you say Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin is still, but anyways, back to the matter on ground. Okay, so my mother's story will be
It
this,
is olden days, oh, please.
golden days, not olden days.
You are,
I like that, Dr. Sarumi.
the ages are divided into three. Pre-modern age, modern age, your children are post-modern age.
Okay.
So that's the reason why she's saying that.
Postmodern.
So she's right.
Thank you, Dr. Sarumi. Thank you so much.
Right. Okay. So two in one for me, and I want to use this particular story because for me it was very foundational. Okay, as a child for me.
Go ahead, Bolo. Oh well.
So when I was in primary school, national theatre event supposed to be at, and you can hear me, yes?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so we had this national theatre. Okay, we had this national theatre event I was supposed to be at, and because it was my school, so I think it was October 1 or something. It was just some national holiday, right? And then we had to go present there, and so I had to get an Irukere. I don't know what it's called in English. It's supposed to be some type of staff.
Hostel.
Sorry?
Hostel.
Hostel. Okay, hostel. So I got my grandfather's own. Okay, so because they told us beforehand anyway. So I got my grandfather's and I was using it on stage and everything. And at a point, she noticed from the crowd that I was getting uneasy. So a teacher behind the curtains had reprimanded me. Okay, and it was showing on my face. Some of my colleagues could notice that, but my mom saw that in the crowd and stood up from the crowd, National Theatre, stood up from the crowd, came to meet me on stage, kissed me and whispered in my ears, "They are doing great. Just shake that bum bum the way we practice it. Shake it, shake it, shake it, and everything like that. And do your waist." And like she encouraged me on stage. Now people were surprised, they're like, was it part of the act? Was it not part of the act? What was happening? Teachers weren't sure how to respond. Should they chase her off the stage? Should they just watch her do her thing? But anyway, that alone instilled for me so much confidence. It was almost as if a spirit entered me. It was almost as if I had an anointing. I danced, I sang, I got my mojo back, And so for me, that was a lesson in authenticity and just helping your children to know that, failures, it's not what happens to you, I guess, that matters in life, but how you approach it, how you come back from it. That for me was a lesson in resilience, a lesson in, don't mind that teacher. Later on, anyway, we talked about it because she wanted to know what happened. And I told her, she was like, don't mind that teacher, you're just being yourself. She allowed me to embrace myself, quirks and all. That for me was great. And then so when we were now on our way back home, somebody's one leg of slippers, I think left or right leg, one leg of slippers was in the car, and then the driver noticed, I'm like, Bolu has mistakenly taken someone's sandal or shoe. And mom was like, when you get back to school tomorrow, and I think was the driver that said, when I get back to school tomorrow, I return. Mom said, lie, we're going to go back. We made an about turn. So I schooled in Festac Town. Our house was in Sackland. So it's not such a distance, but say shy of maybe 2 kilometers, right? So my mom made us do a U-turn and go back to school and said, lie, she cannot take a stranger's or someone else's property to the house. Mom, we are going to school tomorrow. Or maybe, okay, maybe it wasn't the next day, but a couple of days, less than a week, I was going to be back in school anyway. What happened to just keeping it and then going back to school and returning it to a teacher or something, and they'll find out whose it was? Mom said, lie, we're not going to get to that house with that person's sandal. So we had to make a U-turn and go back to school to go and deliver it. When we got there was no teacher, there was only the gate man. So I was even getting angry that, you see now, we just wasted that. And I was hungry. Yeah, that was it. I was really hungry. So I was upset that why is she making us do this about turn? So we went to one eatery like that in Festac, and then we had a meal, just to appease me. But when we got home, she started asking me what happened behind the scenes. I told her what happened with the teacher and everything. She was like, don't worry. Anybody that says that you're not clinical good at it, that's their business. And it's just, now in retrospect, I realized that she knew each child. Of course she should, right? She would not have handled that if it were, let's say, my immediate elder brother that happened to. That would not have been her approach to resolving the issue. But with me, she did that because she just knew that, she just knew at that moment in time that she needed to intervene. And her intervention was what helped me to pull through that act. We got awards because of that act. There were like 12 or 13 schools that came to honor that came for the event. Our school came tops, I think first 3 or something. I can't remember the position now. But it was really because of her instilling or reinstilling confidence in me during that program that made me shine the way that I did. And all through life, she has always helped us to realize that, no matter how things are, just own your difference. And that's interesting, the title of my book, Own Your Difference, like the art of difference, own it. Nobody can be like you. And each child is different. And right now with my own kids, I think I've said that in one of the episodes, how I was foolish for my child. I went to sing somewhere, I went off key and I continued singing, it didn't matter. It's because I had a mother that modeled that for me. She would have easily been shy and be like, we'll talk about it when we get. But she's like, no, this instant in time, I'm going to intervene, regardless of whatever the school authorities say. I'm going to make sure that my child does great. And so those are my two immediate lessons, foundational lessons for me to say, you know what, authenticity, resilience, saying that, when you have someone else's thing, you are eager to return it. You're not going to give excuses to hold on to it, even if it's not stealing per se. You don't want to be assumed a thief. Perception is key. All of those things for me, I learned very early on because of the kind of upbringing. And of course, that eye thing. Any mother that did not do eye to you, it was not an African mother. That eye is very serious. The eye will open like this and wake. God help you if you do not immediately obey.
All right, Bolu,
That would
thank
be
you
my
so
share.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So wonderful. Thank you so very much. Dr. Sharmi, you actually just stirred something up when you told your story about how your mom intervened, and then you are where you are today because she ensured that you continue with your education instead of becoming a tailor or a carpenter or a mechanic. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being a tailor, a carpenter, or a mechanic. But you also qualified it eventually. You say maybe you would have been a bad one. Oh, from what I know about you, you probably would have started some really great innovations in those trades if you had gone that route. But then it's useful to and very encouraging to hear that. And I'm going to tell one of my own from that perspective too. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible, and I'm going to try not to spoil body by not becoming emotional about it because it's one of the very, very soft spots of my life. I am the fifth of my mother's 7 children. We have the privilege. I call it privilege now because those of you who your mother and your father are from the same village, you don't understand. And that's part of why Nigeria is where it is now. My mother was from the southeastern part of Nigeria. She was an Ungwa woman from Abia. My father was from Ikiti State in the southwest of Nigeria. So the Civil War made it, compelled us to have to spend our times with our mother. Our father, because he was from a different tribe, had to leave the east and return to the southwest throughout the time of the Civil War. And after the Civil War, our mother had some little health challenges now and then. So by the time I was finishing primary school, remember I was the 5th, which means there are 2 other people after me. Those 2 are twins. They're actually the last born, as it were. So my elder siblings, the one before me, was already in secondary school. So he couldn't be back home to stay with my mom. So I was the one that had to, stay with them. When I finished primary school, I think I spent like 2 or so years with her without having to go to school. But then she always knew that I loved to write, that I loved to go to school. So by the time she got better, she sent me off one morning and said, go and meet your sister. Okay, you have to take the National Common Entrance this year. You must go to secondary school. I went off to Port Harcourt to meet my sister. Bought a train ticket. I went to the train station. I got to my sister. Told her, Mama said you should give me money so I could get a form, buy the form, and enter for the National Common Entrance to go to secondary. Well, that journey didn't go well, so let me just end it. My sister was like, why didn't you tell me you are coming? Why didn't you people send message? Send message. This was 1972 or so. There was no GSM. There's nowhere to send her. Well, she said, go back when you people want to come next and send me message. And of course, I left Port Harcourt to go back I went to the train station, entered this train. I cried all the way back home. When my mother saw me entering the compound as I was coming, She didn't need to hear my story. She too started crying. Okay. And my mother's compound was fenced, nicely fenced. So you could keep, she had a lot of livestock. So livestock was safe within our compound. So people are used to giving me livestock to keep, goats, chicken, and of course, if anybody who grew around the village that time would know that when the goat gives birth, you keep one, they will take. Okay, so I had goats, I had chicken, but the funny thing was nobody dared kill my chicken for any festival. They'll go and buy chicken. But on this day, overnight, I had gone to sleep, but early in the morning, I was hearing the chicken making noise in their pen. Eventually, my mother came to tap me to wake me up and say, get up, get ready, take your bath, you're going to your grandmother. My mom had rounded up all my chickens, all the big ones, and put in a big basket and put on the bicycle. When I was ready, he said, okay, ride that bicycle, go and meet your grandmother. Tell her that I said she should sell the chicken, you should use the money to register to start school. I cried. I didn't say weep. Weep is to, economize it and make it look nice. I cried as I rode that bicycle from that village, which was called Osauku, to Umoba, where my grandmother lived. I cried all the way. I cried for my chickens that I was not going to see again. I cried for what had happened the previous day. I got to my grandmother. As she welcomed me, she too cried. She took the chickens to the market, sold. There was a school in that town called West African Commercial School. Institute, not school. And for people who are familiar with the East and all that, commercial institute were like you learn straight trade. Trade, I mean, you're talking about like shorthand, like accounting, like typing, things that just get you ready for the job market. I started that school with that money. I went to school. She ensured I lived that dream of continuing my education. That is the first story. I will bridge it there. The second one I have told on this same program. Okay, I'm looking at our time, yes. The second one I have told on this program. And since Dr. Sarumi had posted that he knows how to cook, and I wish we continue, it's also a food. Two other people have talked about their mother. If not for my mother, I mean, forget it. Cook for where? We are seven. I repeat, there was only one woman among us. So my mother ensured that all of us could cook. So there was this one particular day she had to go on a journey. And she said, cook soup, make the fufu so that your younger brothers and yourself can eat, and keep mine so when I come back, gleefully I went into the kitchen, I cooked the soup. It was okazi and egusi soup. I put everything. Everything tasted beautiful. But I felt something was wrong with that soup. I felt something was wrong. When my mama came back, I was happy, I had cooked food, I served her. The first morsel of fufu mama put in the soup to take, the soup was so light that the sauce ran from her fingers down and she had to stop it. The soup was light. And she was like, is this what I taught you? Then it dawned on me I did not put thickener in the soup. My mom proceeded to remove all the protein inside the soup and took 2 cups of water, 2 fresh cups of water, and poured in the pot of soup and said, since you like to eat light soup, you are going to be eating this soup alone till you finish, since you like water. But then I didn't really eat that soup eventually. I learned to cook and cocoa. So, people, that's the story. I don't know you listening to us, watching us from home. I don't know what it is you remember about your mother if she's no longer with us. But if you are lucky and she's still with us, cherish your mother. Like Mrs. Ayo is still lucky Mama is still here. The rest of us, we're saying, my mother used to, our mother used to. We used to think, we used to go to ask our aunts if our mom was really our mom because of, the way she would insist we perform specific tasks. But today, I wake up, I thank God for my mother. How about you? Are you feeling your mother is stressing you by asking you to do things in particular ways? You've listened to all the resource persons here telling stories about their mother. Unique stories, impactful stories. As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask each of them now to just do a 1-minute takeaway. I mean, their passing shots from their stories and their relationship with their mother. I'm going to start with Mrs. Ishola, Mrs. Adedoyin Ishola, in 1 minute, okay? Just give us your takeaway.
Okay, I want to encourage everyone that is listening to us that as long as our parents are alive, especially our mothers, please cherish them. Cherish them to the extent that when they are gone, you keep living with the good memories of whatever you have had with them. Then I want to also encourage us to please have enough conversation with them, because whatever it is, they have a lot of experiences that we don't have. And then if we tap from those experiences, we can use it as a platform to better our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Shoya. Thank you so much. Dr. Sarumi, your takeaway, please. Your passing shot. Is Dr. Sarumi with us? Okay, let's move on then to Mrs. Banjo.
Okay. So, closing remarks, right?
Yeah.
Hello? Closing remarks.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, we're talking about mothers, today. Some mothers, or those resource people on this show, some of their mothers have departed. Some still have mothers around, and some of those listening too have have mothers around, or their mothers have departed. Whatever be the case, we also should think about our own positioning as parents. What legacy are we leaving behind? What memories are we leaving behind for our children? Because definitely those memories, no matter whether we try or we don't try, we're leaving some memories. So it would only be better if we would intentionally leave good memories for our children, because 10 years down the road, many years after we are gone, they will be telling stories about our parents and how those are actions and sayings have impacted their lives. So, sow good seeds today, and you'll reap a harvest of great memories and a good legacy. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Bandra. I so appreciate that. Bolu, Mrs. Sayo, your parting shots, rather, not passing.
All right. My parting shot would be that to give a shout out really to mothers the world over, to say that it's mothers are, for lack of a better word, gods. I say that they are co-creators with gods. Fathers are too, by all means. But a mother is that one person that, regardless of how she's feeling, she pushes through her own ordeals, her own demons, to ensure that she's present for her children, biological or non-biological. She gives everything. Sometimes we feel that um we parent our children, and we model for them, we inspire them, but sometimes it's just the other way around as well. They inspire us as much as we inspire them. They keep us going. Sometimes you want to throw in the towel, you want to give up, but because you look at the children that you have, and even the non-biological children that you have that look up to you, for counsel, for help, for direction, they keep us going. So it's such a symbiotic relationship, one that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the fact that I have the opportunity to actually birth living beings, and then look into their eyes and just be with them all of their lives until, the mothers pass. So for me, this is just a shout out to mothers, I guess. Yeah. Thank you.
Peace out. Thank you, Bolu. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to call a group of people who didn't know they were going to say anything on this program, but it's not fair. We are talking, this is a special edition of the Slow Parenting program. It's not fair that we are just talking about our mothers, and the guys who make sure that we remain online, that we are here, that people could hear and see us. We don't get to hear their own stories too. So in 2 minutes, Naomi, Clinton, and Itunu, starting with Clinton, so that both Naomi and Itunu will be ready. In 2 minutes each, just let us hear that special thing you want us to give a shout out to your moms for. Go ahead, please. Clinton. Is Clinton with us? Hello, Clinton, go ahead. Okay, if Clinton is not ready, Itunu, go ahead, please. Hello. Go ahead, just tell us in 2 minutes that thing you want us to say, thank God for your mom on your behalf. Thank you so much, Itunu. That's so wonderfully put. That's so touching. Thank you so much. Clinton, if you are ready now, if Clinton is not ready, Naomi, go ahead. That one thing you want us to give a big shout out for your mom for in 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone, for always making me to be a very patient person. What was my dad? I think I really learned a lot from her, because she's always there supporting him and making us be better children by always listening to any advice that is being given from our dad or instructions. Because sometimes we want to do them our own ways, but she's like, your dad, I cannot speak his wahala, so better couple yourself and do what you need to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Naomi. That's a very good angle to this whole thing. That's a very, very interesting perspective to it all. Bringing the team to the table. We say in slow parenting that parenting is a team event. Okay, your mom has shown you or mirrored that need to have you understand that it's not only herself that gave back to you. Your father is there. I can't do his wahala. That's a good way to stay out of trouble. Thank you, Pastor Sarumi. You're back now. Please, your parting shot in 2 minutes. Hello, Pastor Sarumi. Hello. Okay, if we don't, Pastor Sarumi, are you here? Okay, let's make room for Clinton if he's back now.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Go ahead, Clinton.
Okay, sir. My own passing for to all the mothers, I want to give a shout out to my mom for always advising me on things to do and things not to do. She has been the one that's been helping to advise. Though my dad too said give advice, but my mom too, she always draws close and come and call me one-on-one, and she gives me a good advice. Thank you.
Thank you, Clinton. Though you should have just given us one idea now, but one specific advice that she gave you now. Give us a Koronje. Are you shy?
No. I'm shy. Okay. Okay. One big advice she gave me is when I was about going to school. You know, the normal advice mom always give, but this point in time, she called me and told me that I should mind the friends I keep, not really because of I'm a Christian, but I should just mind the kind of friends I keep at every point in time. They should not be friends that will lure me to do things. Not necessarily, even if they are Christians, I should still watch their kind of behavior and not follow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clinton. That's very nicely put. Dr. Sarumi, are you with us now? Hello, Dr. Sarumi. Okay, so if we don't have Dr. Sarumi, I just need to thank everyone. I've been so blessed with all the stories. And it's actually just says that our mothers seem to have all gone to the same schools in terms of their parenting jobs, okay? And a good school at that. Yes, a good school at that. You'll be surprised that you will not just be talking about mothers within the African continent. Parenting is a human thing. Parenting is universal. Motherhood is universal. You'll be surprised that everything that we've been shared, or most of the things we've shared here, that parents from other parts of the world have also mirrored or modeled similar practices or examples for their children to follow. Okay, so we give a big of some, not just a lots and lots of big shout out to mothers across the world. Okay, if you're planning to become a mother, don't hesitate. It's a rewarding thing. Look at us here talking about how our mothers helped us to continue with school, helped us to learn how to cook, helped us to make good, have information with you to make good decisions about going up and getting going in life. Okay, so value your mom if she's here now. If she's not here, cherish the memory. One way to cherish those memories is share them with your children, share them with the world, just like we have done here today. So thank you for joining us today. Till next episode, that will be same time next Wednesday. Join us on Slow Parenting, and we shall be talking the talk therapy. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Slow parenting is simplicity parenting. Simplicity parenting.
We want to discourage a particular behavior, right? We want to deter that behavior from occurring in the future. And so we apply.
So we are talking about community. We also remember that your children want to be you. They're not talking about that person that's out.
Exceptions to every rule, and no matter the best or the most noble of mirroring that we do modeling, some sometimes they fear of. I know that there are exceptions.
Is focus on quality time rather than